This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. I'm joined by trainer Sugar Hill Steward over Zoom. Sugar, we've been trying to do this interview for a while now, but here we are. How are you? How is sunny Miami?
Barely making it, man. Waiting for us to talk, and it's finally here. Like you said, you've been ducking and dodging and running from me, but I finally caught up with you.
I wouldn't say it's that way around, Sugar, but here we are. Yeah, how's everything going? How are the guys in the gym and the girls?
Everybody's doing well. They're excited to be all together and learning and helping each other out, pushing each other, and yeah, just getting excited for up and coming fights this year.
Obviously, one up and coming fight is that of Mr. Lawrence Okolie. Now, you've teamed up together recently. You're now his new trainer, WBO Cruiserweight World Champion. Sugar, just firstly, just talk to me about the story behind you two linking up and how the approach came about.
Well, the first time I've heard of Lawrence Okolie was from Ben Whittaker. He mentioned him to me, I guess, because him and Lawrence and Ben had spoken, and that was the first time I heard about him. And then I don't know, some months later, Lawrence got in touch with me himself, and we spoke briefly about me possibly training him. I told him, yeah, some time passed by. We talked again, and I'm in Florida, and he's got a fight coming up. Actually, I think I was about to train Tyson. Matter of fact, it was December around that time. So I was over in England, and then I came back, and he was waiting for a fight date and some other things, I guess, contractually and as far as him getting a fight. And we hooked up here in Florida, and everything has been going well ever since. He's been progressing, he's been learning, and yeah, I never looked at him until he's told me he was coming over to America, to down here to Florida. Then I finally looked at one of his films and checked him out. I had also, Ben told me he's pretty good, so I just believed in what Ben said. And then after that, I spoke with Tyson, and Tyson also vouched for him. And then I watched his fight.
So there's quite a few things to pick up on there. Usually, though, Sugar, when obviously a fighter's changing trainer, they'll go and maybe speak to two or three other coaches. Now, I'm not expecting you to name them, but when Lawrence first approached you, was it simply he just came and trained with you and he thought, you're the man for me?
Yeah, he just came and trained with me. I don't know who if he spoke or talking or seeing anyone else, but as far as I know, he spoke with me, and that was it. If there's anything else, I don't want to know. Make me seem like I was the first choice.
Sugar, well, you are a man in demand at the minute, and just talk to me about what's been most impressive since you've teamed up with Lawrence, and what in particular do you feel like you want to bring to him?
Well, what's been most impressive with Lawrence, and my observation is that when I first saw him fight, I looked at him, I was watching the fights, and I was like, and so I was most impressed with his athletic ability and his determination, his strength, to become world championship material and become a world champion with what I saw, the things that he was doing. And it just reminds me of something that Emmanuel had taught me and had me look at. And that was one of those things where I could just sit back and smile because it was something that Emmanuel had mentioned to me in the past. And it was, it's amazing how a lot of these fighters become world champions and do not even have the basic fundamentals of boxing. And for them to make it to that elite level to become world champion is just incredible. So I was amazed at Lawrence, his ability to become a world champion, with the fundamentals that he has and he's working with. So when I saw that, I could see he thinks about a lot of things. He sees things, but he doesn't actually know how to get to them properly and how to create certain things. But he creates it with he's been creating it with his awkwardness, and that was something that I really liked, his creativity. So yeah, I was thinking if I can just tighten up a few things and then sit back on the couch and watch him run, like putting some Energizer batteries into the bunny.
Sugar, you mentioned the awkwardness. It was certainly something that So at the early stage of his career, more so than recently, people were critical of that, but he never really entertained fans. We saw him used to tie up his opponents quite a lot, but he always got the job done. And as we've seen, he's gone on to become world champion. Under your guidance and under your stewardship now, how are you looking to evolve him? You've just mentioned the things you want to tighten up on him. So how are you looking to bring it out of him?
Just, I mean, we do a lot of talking and me making sure that he's able to understand what he sees in the ring, you know, what he sees from the position that he's in the ring, and what he sees behind his opponent, and where he wants to put his opponent, and what punch he wants to throw. That's pretty much it right now. It's all that can be done right now with you know, the short time that we've been spending together.
Sugar, the three main Brits you train in Tyson, Ben Whittaker, and Lawrence Okolie, all very different fighters. Just talk to me about that, training three very different styles to kind of bring the best out of them, not necessarily all having them trained to one specific way that you want them to be, but just continuing to enhance what they're best at.
For me, I don't look at them as being three different fighters. I look at them as almost being pretty much the same. If you look at it from my eyes, what are they? All tall, you know, tall, slim. We're gonna give Tyson a slim look. All tall, slim fighters, great mobility, and very creative. Ben Whittaker is very creative. You've seen his style. Tyson Fury is the same, and Lawrence Okolie, him becoming world champion with his creativity and getting to his opponents and landing those devastating punches to get knockouts. So it's not far from, you know, these guys are not far from each other exactly. They've all got this certain determination, and I have to say something so I don't have to. Hold on, somebody, how do you get this off? Somebody's trying to.
I'm still here, Sugar. I don't know if you can see me.
Okay, I can't see you. Somebody's trying to call in, but listen. So yeah, I have to say this. I mean, Tyson's obviously, you know, a total different mindset than all those guys because of what he's accomplished and everything, and they're pretty much just kind of starting off in their in their quest for greater things in their career. So yeah, but these guys, they're pretty much they're like not the same, but I mean they have a certain skill set and certain things inside them that push them to become who they are right now.
Sugar, you've got your first fight with Lawrence Okolie on the horizon towards the end of March. David Light, talk to me about that one. What challenges does David Light pose? How much of him have you seen?
I haven't seen much of them, just maybe like some highlight reels, and I don't really spend much time studying a fighter totally like that because it's just something that I wasn't raised to do. I used to do it, and then I had to sit down with you know who, and you know who said, you know what, I don't do that. You know, he says, you know, he can look at it, you know, pretty quick and decide on what needs to be worked on and things like that. So yeah, that's the road I took, and that's how I you know, prepare for the fighters now. And I understand it more so because it's like when you were amateur fighting, you don't know who you were going to fight the next day, so you didn't have time to sit back and adjust and try to figure out that person. You have to get it in and get in that fight right then and there, and be able to make adjustments and see things your opponent's doing, and I mean it's a pretty fast sport. Because if you don't do it, if you don't catch on quick enough, you get knocked out.
Sugar, just to link Lawrence and Tyson, I know that for one of the Wilder fights, Lawrence actually sparred Tyson. Have you spoken to either of them about that?
No, I didn't speak to him about it. Tyson was giving a thumbs up. I asked him about him. He said, "No, he's a good. You know, he had him in camp with Cotton Wild. He's fast, he's tall, he's athletic, and you know, yeah, he's game. Like he wants to fight. So yeah, that was pretty much it."
Sugar, I know Lawrence has those ambitions to unify the division, and a lot of people have questioned how much longer he has left at cruiserweight. Obviously, you saw this past weekend, Bardu Jack stopping Ilunga Makabu for the WBC title. Has he spoken to you about his plans, how much longer he sees his future at cruiserweight before he wants to move up?
Nah, he's just learning right now. All we can do right now is just train for this fight, and you know, and then get ready for the next one. We'll see what happens after, you know, after getting through this fight here, as far as if he's comfortable at this weight still. Right now, I'm not seeing any problems with him making weight or even performing at the weight he's at right now.
Sugar, Mr. Ben Whittaker, how is Ben doing?
Ben's doing well. We were all over here together in Florida training down here in sweet sunny Miami, and everybody's been getting along. He went home to take care of a few things. You know, he had an injury, so he went to go make sure that was 100% before he makes his way back here to start working on his pursuit to be a world champion.
Just talk to me about the recovery from his shoulder injury. How is that healing up now? So you've spent some time out there with together. So how is he looking?
To me, it's looking pretty good. He didn't do any sparring. We just worked on strengthening some other areas of his, you know, to give him some more punching power, some things that what I call, you know, we just work up some other muscles that activated him. So certain things that, you know, he wasn't able to do, I'm making sure that he understands what muscles he needs to use to make these punches happen. And that's pretty much what we're working on, is just activating those muscles, activating certain muscles, you know, on his left side and his right side, since he's been, you know, he's been out for, you know, some time. Get those muscles back activated so he can start understanding which punches to throw and how to throw them and what to throw next.
Sugar, what's the plan for Ben then for his return? Do you have a date in mind for when you'd like him to be back out for his third outing?
I couldn't tell you nothing like that. Like I said, he's over there in Birmingham right now, just getting his last final okay to start sparring. So when that happens, then it's not really up to me. But I would just like him to be back in camp with me, and I look forward to something. But it should be yeah. I mean, whatever the doctors tell him. So I'm not a doctor.
Sugar, I don't know. You're a man of many talents, so it wouldn't have surprised me if you said you were. Just
I mean, somebody else would have to say that, not me. So if you say it, then
Sugar, just with Ben, the final one. Obviously, I imagine certainly at least maybe on Ben's behalf, and maybe not so much yours, but might have been a level of frustration that he was only able to get out twice last year. I imagine the plan and the talks between you all has just been, as soon as he's fit and he's ready, activity, activity, activity.
that would be nice for me. I mean, things happen in life, you have to learn from them, and we've all learned from this time as experience.
Very short and sweet. So moving on to your other charge and up to the heavyweight division finally, Mr. Tyson Fury. We caught him out in Saudi Arabia this week supporting Tommy Fury, his brother. But let's just go on to Tommy first. In fact, obviously we saw him defeat Jake Paul, a rivalry which has built over the years. I'm sure you've tuned in, you've watched it. What did you make of Tommy's performance and his win?
I thought Tommy did very good. I thought both fighters did very good. You know, for the level of boxing in which they are. It was a very evenly matched competition. It was very interesting for me to watch myself, which I don't watch much boxing, but it was very interesting for me to watch and other people, you know, around the world watching boxing. So it wasn't one-sided, which made it interesting, which actually made it build up for, I hear they're talking about number 2. So yeah, very, very exciting. I'm proud of him. You know, so for him, he had a belt on his shoulders, so I made a little comment or post, and still he's undefeated. So yeah, he did a great job. Yeah, I'm proud of him. So proud of him for all the energy and effort he took. You know, to fight on that kind of a level. You know, most guys with that experience, they don't fight on that level at the main event and everything like that. But you know, for him, it wasn't a problem. He's got a big brother, Tyson Fury, to look after and to actually be a part of all these camps to be more comfortable in those situations than most other people would be.
Sugar, I imagine you've spent quite a bit of time around Tommy, obviously working with Tyson. You've probably taken him on the pads and what have you too. Just from what you've experienced with Tommy behind closed doors, how much more do you feel we didn't get to see on fight night when he fought Jake last week?
He didn't get to see these from Tommy. Tommy don't have these. And we got all this other stuff. He ain't got these right here.
Sugar, there's not many men who do.
I hope Tommy hates me for that too.
Yeah, so moving forward then, Sugar, and on to your man Tyson. Obviously everybody's waiting to see what's happening with for a while. They've expected to see the undisputed bout with Alexander Usyk announced. I imagine I know what your answer is going to be for these forthcoming questions, but what's
Please
your
tell me. I want to see if you know me.
well, Sugar, I imagine I'm about to ask you what's your understanding, and you're going to say, I don't know, I'm leaving it up to the big dog.
All right, I'll leave it up to them. That's not my area either. My area is to say who's the opponent, whoever the opponent is. And my area is to formulate a game plan and go get a knockout. Simple as that.
Are you having it like regular catch-ups with Tyson? Is he at least keeping you in the loop as to when he'd maybe want to start working again towards a date?
Yeah, he wanted to start working after the last fight. So Tyson's always wanting to work. He's a man's man. He's ready to work all the time. He wants to fight regularly, but those things are not always possible. And he wants to fight the top and the best guys, and those things aren't always possible. We can only do what we're allowed to do. You can't control someone else and what they want to do. And when you learn that in life, as he's learning now, he can live and be a lot more comfortable, a lot more relaxed than to try to worry about someone else and what they're going to do and what they want to do. And those are things that we've talked about a lot. And I'm happy to see him, taking some of my advice and actually, feeling the same way as I feel. So all my answers are just more carefree, and his aren't going to be like mine are, but he's understanding like, hey, just let me fight. Period. If I can't fight these guys, let me fight somebody, because if you sit there waiting on other things, you don't have control of your life. Get out there and take the reins.
Is that the point of which you feel like he's kind of getting to now? Obviously, the Usyk fight itself has been spoken about for a few months now. Negotiations have been ongoing since pre-Chisora. With that in mind, is there kind of a level of frustration, or certainly in Tyson's thinking, he's like, listen, if I'm not going to get this fight, I need to go and get something else lined up, because from what's been reported, he wants to fight on the 29th of April, no matter what, no matter who it is.
There it is. The man is spoken. I like his attitude.
Do you expect it to be Alexander Usyk?
I expect him to beat anybody. Put him up there.
Gonna stick with it, Sugar. Do you understand why then? Obviously, with such a huge fight and with a lot at stake, the Usyk fight's maybe taken a lot longer to get over the line.
I don't know. Andi, really, I don't think about it. It's not to brush everybody off. I would say it to you as I would say it to Tyson. So not just holding back because I'm doing an interview or something. I just say that. I say the same thing to everybody. As you can hear, I'm at the golf course, and I like to spend my time thinking of other things that I have control over, like hitting that golf ball. So me thinking about the ifs and the maybes with Tyson and Usyk and the negotiation and who's holding things up and who wants this, who wants that. I mean, it's totally out of my control, and I'm going to be better. I'm going to be better at my job if I can just stick to doing my job more so and put all my effort into that. So then we don't have any problems worrying about if Sugar Hill is going to train Tyson to get a knockout. We're going to make sure of that, and that's going to happen.
So Sugar, just kind of looking to Tyson's next outing, as you said, April 29th is the date that's being mentioned. So when do you expect to link back up with Tyson? Obviously, will you just be traveling back over with Lawrence in, say, a couple of weeks and then look to stick it out then and be back up in Morecambe with the Gypsy King?
Well, I think the Gypsy King's going to come grab me regardless, so I ain't got no choice. Once I touch down in England, when those GK gets his hands around you, that's it. The Kraken has spoken.
And Sugar, just before I let you go, a few other things to touch on. Last time we spoke, I've spoken to you previously about potentially working with Anthony Joshua, and that's obviously not happened. Instead, we've seen him team up with Derrick James. Just want to get your thoughts on that link up and his upcoming fight with Jermaine Franklin.
I like that look. I mean, I like Derrick James. A friend of mine, we've been around the sport together, in many places together, and he works as hard as I work. So I think, Derrick ain't taking no BS. So Yeah, hopefully, and I believe he'll get things in order.
What do you make of AJ's fight with Jermaine Franklin?
I think it's a tough fight. Any fight in that heavyweight division with those top guys, as Jermaine Franklin has just proved with his bout against Dillian White. So can't write him off, as we've seen Anthony Joshua in there with Andi, and things didn't go so well. So just in that division, and pretty much any division, but the heavyweights, because that's the big boy division. But and that's what brings a lot of excitement. One punch with anybody in that division, and it could be over. So it's a fight that both of these fighters are have to, and I know are taken seriously. And I expect a great fight. I expect an exciting fight, the same as I saw with Dillian White and Jermaine Franklin. And just the same, Jermaine Franklin, he trains hard, and that last fight, I think, was a big booster for him, for his confidence, and being on that stage. And this is just another stage for him to stand on, and to prove, that he has skills from which he had back in the amateurs, winning the national Golden Gloves and being an outstanding amateur, taking that to the professional championship levels.
And Sugar, just get your thoughts on two other fights on the horizon. Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia was announced last week. Your thoughts? Just break that fight down for me, please.
I hadn't really thought about that one yet, but you got Tank is just a dangerous man. he's so dangerous for such a little guy, man. So yeah, you just have to watch out for him. He's dangerous. He takes punches and all that. Ryan Garcia's got his speed, and we've seen him go down and be in trouble. So we're looking at a boxer, and there are two boxers actually, but just one of them has more aggression. It's gonna be technical, and it'll be a chess match for a while until somebody gets caught. And that's what I expect to see. I just expect it to be a fun fight for me to watch, and the fans as well, and everybody being satisfied with that fight and the results. It ain't going to decision.
Ain't going to a decision. So I assume from what you've had to say, you're picking Tank for the win.
No, I didn't say that exactly. I just said, Ryan Garcia's got pop as well, but it's going to be technical until somebody makes a mistake. And everybody in boxing makes a mistake. Tank, like I said, Tank, he gets hit. He's tough, but Ryan gets knockouts. He's got power, and it's always the punch you don't see that gets you. Both fighters have this is going to be an interesting fight. It's just whoever can stick to their game plan and make the adjustments and catch the other person slipping.
And then just the final one, David Benavidez and Caleb Plant on March 25th. Obviously, Caleb, somebody who you've just recently prepared one of your fighters for. Just your thoughts. What's your take?
Shoot, a boxer and an aggressive, fast hand fighter. Caleb Plant being the boxer, and Benavidez is the come forward, with the fast hands, and using his side. I just think those two fights right there, it's not for me to pick. It's just those are fights that I want to see. And a lot of times I don't even want to see fights. It's just because of the competition and but those two fights I know they're going to be great fights to watch. Two top level fights, 4 top level opponents, and Benavidez and Plant and with Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. I almost forgot about them, but you just brought them back up, and now I'm starting to remember about how excited I'm getting to watch these two fights here on 2 separate dates. So I got 2 dates stacked in my head, which I'm gonna be sitting back relaxing. Maybe I'll be around Tyson when those things happen, and we can sit back and we can make another little friendly another friendly wager of the norm, and I can keep stacking some more chips on him.
Sugar, just to say, Benavidez Plant falls on the same night as Lawrence's fight with David Light, so you'll have to stay up late into the night to watch it.
Not a problem. Tyson will be there as well. It's in Manchester, so we should have a great night that night.
Well, I imagine you will do, and I'll catch up with you when you're back over here. It's a pleasure as always, Sugar. Enjoy obviously the rest of his camp, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for speaking to me.
Next time, take that hot ass jacket off. Don't you see how I'm dressed? I'm dressed for the occasion.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
you're in Florida. Unfortunately, I'm not. I wish the roles were reversed.
no, 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 don't wish me over there. I'll get over there when it's time.
Right, Sugar. Look after yourself. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.
Bam.